Chris, just because of the teams you're playing this week, obviously a good St. Mary's team coming in here Wednesday, rivalry game on the road on Saturday. Do you feel like this is a good week, a good barometer of where your team is at this week?
Yeah, it's a huge week. When you look at your schedule, there's always, certain days, weeks that are bigger than others because of who you're playing. And when you look at it from 10,000 feet, this is, one of our biggest weeks of the season because of the obvious. St. Mary's, what they've been doing since Coach Bennett's there. And then certainly we all know what the rivalry games mean. It'll be our first road game of the season as well.
Does that kind of get obviously you won't know until Saturday, and you obviously have a big game Wednesday, but having a rivalry game as your first road game, do you kind of like that? I mean, obviously you're not going to need to get the guys pumped up or anything. It's a rivalry game in the pit.
I don't know. You have to ask me Saturday night if I liked it or not. It is what it is. Scheduling's really hard. Probably not ideal. I don't know if I'd want to do that every year, but that's the way it worked out this year. And we'll go up there and try to play our best. But it's some of our guys have played in those games, and obviously everybody at this level has played in rivalry games. So we'll talk about it. The returnees will share, their experiences of playing up there, and we'll prepare, obviously, more Thursday and Friday for that particular game.
After looking at the film from the UTEP game, what were some things you really liked about your team and some things you want to fix going into this week?
After looking at the video, we had a lot of breakdowns, especially early in the game. I thought we were ready to play. They were excited to play. I just think they got caught up a little bit in the moment. They got caught up in the great crowd. They got caught up in the throwback uniforms, etc. And UTEP didn't. They punched us in the mouth, just like I said after the game. And we talked a lot post-game about at this level, all it takes is one or two mistakes for one or two players on the other team to feel good and make their first shot. And it just really raises the mood of everybody on the opposing bench. And it gets that feel-good deal going for the other team. And you don't want them to do that at any time. You especially don't want them to feel like that on the road to start a game. It gave them great confidence, and it shook ours. In the end, it was really good for us to go through that adversity because we hadn't dealt with that. In our only game earlier against North Dakota State, we won handily and had no adversity at all. So in the end, it was really good for us. I was disappointed in how we started the game, but certainly, we put up 96 points on a team that prides themselves on defense and plays really hard, and that was a good thing to see. But a lot of correctable mistakes, were made.
Looking at St. Mary's, obviously they've only played 2 games, but I think they've held both McNeese and Utah Valley in the 60s. So seems like a very good defensive team. What have you seen from St. Mary's on that end of the ball?
There's just not many weaknesses. Coach Bennett is a guy that I don't know all that well. I've got to know him through this series, but I've always had a ton of respect for him from outside looking in, the way he goes about running his program and the way his teams play. They play the right way. They're known for their offense and how just smooth it runs and how they just keep putting in different names on the back of their jerseys with the same results, which is really hard to do. And, obviously they have the Australian connection, and it's really worked well for them. And those kids just seem to be mature and almost older, if you will. And they never get sped up. It's a tribute to their leadership, how they practice. But this year's team's a little bit different than last year. They're a little faster. They're getting up and down the floor more and scoring more in transition rather than just, going toe-to-toe in the half court. And like you mentioned, I think they're a little better defensively than maybe they were last year, a little more athletic than maybe they've been in the past. But they still, in the half court, they're just so efficient, both shooting the basketball and running their ball screen sets and continuity that they provide a lot of challenges.
Coach, because you're playing so many guys right now and you're not playing anybody really over 25, 30 minutes, how can that help you at the end of games in the final 5-10 minutes of those stretches at the end?
Well, we haven't got to that point yet. Obviously, it's going to happen soon, and we're hopeful that it's going to help us with fresh legs, obviously we're going to avoid a lot of foul situations and having to be stressed about that. But again, I still believe in the end, we're going to have a rotation of, 10, 9 maybe. Right now it's probably 11, 12. But that's more due to the margin of the victories than probably anything else. And it's allowed us to figure it out, which has been a blessing to be able to, play that many guys, quality minutes in Division I games to see how they respond under the lights. But in the end, I just don't think it's probably the best way, to play an entire season for rhythm purposes, et cetera. But it's nice to know that if we do have, foul situations that these guys have played in Division I games and they can be productive. But I think it's going to help us. And the best thing about it is, there's been no issues with playing time. In the last 6-7 minutes of the game against UTEP, A.J. Harris was our biggest cheerleader on the bench, and it was awesome to see, a kid that's, preseason all-league, and, he's been there, done that in Division I already, and for him to not even, show any bad body language or pout or anything like that, and to be so supportive of his teammates when a lot of guys would have been like, hey, Coach, I need to get in there and get my numbers. And I never saw anything like it, and that's a luxury. And we're in the infant stages of a season, and that could change. But so far, so good with, guys not playing a bunch of minutes. I mean, I think 26 minutes has been the high in 2 games. So we're trying to use that to our advantage in our practice as well, saying, hey, we can practice a little longer, a little harder than maybe we would have in the past because of nobody playing in, 30, 35 minutes thus far this season.
Building off that, was that one of the better games you've seen Sean play during his career here?
Yeah, he was good. I left him in the game because of that reason. I've always said that when you get in the game and you produce and you play well and the team's humming, especially when you're point guard, you're going to stay out there. And AJ knows that. And we gained separation in the game with Sean at the point, obviously with other players as well. But he was running the team and running it well and defending, drew a charge, and he's become such a good vocal leader. He's an organizer. He's willing to open his mouth and call people out, and at the same time get people organized on the court on the fly. And like I said earlier, I just trust him out there. And for him to score the ball a little bit better in that particular game will hopefully give him more confidence moving forward.
Well, you're coming across excited, Coach. We like seeing you this way. Is this what this is the build-up for a great week of basketball, a great couple of games to start the season?
It's exciting to talk about the wins. It's not that exciting to think about who we're playing this week. I mean, after watching the video this weekend of St. Mary's, I was hoping that maybe they wouldn't be as quite as good as they've been in the past, but that was a short thought. They're good. St. Mary's is really good, and certainly, come Wednesday and come Saturday, we'll play in front of great crowds, one that will be more supportive of us than the other. But, on a tangent, I just continue to be amazed by our student turnout for the first 2 games of the year. You expect a good turnout for the rivalry game, but for them to do it back-to-back, we're hopeful that they'll do it again for Wednesday, and they understand how important they are, to create that home court advantage that we're creating. And I just thought it was a really neat, charged environment, and we didn't help the matter. We didn't give them anything to cheer about, but they stuck with us. And then when we started playing better, you could feel the crowd energize, our whole team, which was a really good sign.
So it's going to be, would you say, a great teaching moment, a great learning moment come Wednesday because of the caliber club you have coming in here? This team can really grow from a club that has what you've described? Yeah,
win or lose, we're going to learn a lot about our team Wednesday night. We're going to learn a lot about team this week in terms of how can we get them to understand the importance of the details and scouting and preparation for a team like this, because if we're going to win the game, it's probably going to come down to a possession or two, and to get them to be on the same page all week long and have great focus both in the film room and on the court leading up to the game will somewhat determine the outcome of the game. But we're going to learn a lot. We're going to know where we're at. This is a great barometer, and then we're going to wake up Thursday morning and have to do it all over again.